What's popping up? They're killing Roddy Ricch. And for good reason and for wrong reason. Now, what's been going around is his new album has been announced for release for October 24th. I mean, dog, you're announcing an album 4 months in advance? Jeez. It's called the Navy album. Shouldn't be too surprising. Navy, blue, he rolls with the Crips or is affiliated, whatever the case may be. Before all the gangologists come here, they're like, well, no, actually, he's this. Frankly, I really don't care about that gang stuff. However, this is the 5th time that he's delayed this album. So it went from last year, Roddy Ricch the Navy album, December 6th, and it's beautiful to see the same account tweet this, Roddy Ricch the Navy album to February 21st, to April 25th, to July 18th. So it's supposed to come out next week, and it didn't end up dropping. And keep in mind, there are a couple of different reasons that we're going to go into, and I think some of this is due to circumstance. But if we take a look at Roddy Ricch's last album, guess how long ago that was? Almost 4 years ago. He dropped in December of 2021. And Roddy Ricch is not an artist that can take that long. I mean, just from Please Excuse Me for Being Antisocial, which was his debut album, which was a smash. I think that album is like double or triple platinum. It's the one that had the box on it, which is beyond a diamond. It felt like he took a very long time to release Live Life Fast, which debuted at number 4, and it was a disappointing release quality-wise for the majority of Roddy Ricch fans and rap fans. They were like, man, we were used to you coming into this game with these melodies, but really rapping, singing your heart out with some real stuff. And then Live Life Fast was it was a reflection of his lifestyle change from Please Excuse Me for Being Antisocial into this rich rapper #1 lifestyle where you're beating out Justin Bieber's Yummy on the charts. You feel like you're on top of the world, and the music reflected that, but the people didn't resonate with that. And that's a very tough position to be in as an artist, because he was just rapping about what his life was at that point and what his life was back then, but it just didn't hit this time because people can't relate to that. Since then, there has been no album. However, he has tried to get back hot, because before he released his debut album, Please Excuse Me for Being Antisocial, he had this Feed the Streets mixtape series. So a year later, in 2022, he released Feed the Streets 3, and that debuted at number 14, which we didn't really have much expectations of it. I said I enjoyed this project, this mixtape, and I was trying to temper people's expectations and be like, yo, this guy's clearly trying to get back into the game. He had one of the craziest fall from graces, because at least for a DaBaby who had multiple #1s, you could say, well, it all went downhill after he went on that rant, the AIDS rant that was misinterpreted, and then he doubled down on what the misinterpretation was, which made things worse. And you could say that he did it to himself to a degree. But with Roddy Ricch, he didn't do anything controversial, really. And so he drops Feed the Streets 3, which I thought was solid, but no hits came out of it. And this is the tough part, because Roddy Ricch was known as a hit maker. Like, for example, he was on Ballin' with Mustard. That wasn't even his own project. But then he had Die Young as well. He had The Box. He had High Fashion with Mustard. He had all of those songs come together. Late at Night, they were trying to make that a hit. It didn't really stick. I don't even think it went gold yet, as far as I know. And 2023 comes along. So keep in mind, 2022, he releases that. 2023, he's all but gone. Like, he had a song on Trippie Redd's album, and I think he was on an Internet Money song. That's all I remember for 2023. So a year he's gone. And then 2024, he tries to drop a couple of songs in the lead up to the Navy album. None of those songs stick. And then here we are right now. Now, as a feature, on 2023, I think he was on just like 2 random people's songs. I think he was on a Boogie album, but that was years ago. So he's been and I remember I was critical of Roddy, because I was like, yo, how is Roddy going to open up on tour for Post Malone for 2 separate projects? It's like, dog, at one point you got to go on your own tour. And I still don't think he's done that yet, which is really unfortunate. And I think, did he appear on GNX? I'm not sure if Roddy Ricch is on GNX. I think he is on that song that has like 10 people on it. I'm gassing it with the 10 people. But now we're in this position where, okay, what are we going to do? And I think he was on Gunna's project as well, but he hasn't been active. Like other rappers, they're active. They're consistently dropping, whether it be singles, whether it be mixtapes. Roddy Ricch has all but disappeared. And I think this isn't fully Roddy Ricch's fault. And I think he's just being quiet on the issue, because this is label things as well. Because Roddy Ricch, he signed to Bird Vision Atlantic, Bird Vision, I'm guessing, is like the initial label. Like what happens to a lot of these rappers that come from a lot of street rappers, this happens to, but generally speaking, a lot of rappers this happens to. They will sign to a production deal or something like that to someone in their hood. Like, for example, DaBaby, he signed to, I think, a North Carolina or South Carolina. I know DaBaby's from North Carolina, but he signed to a Carolina-based record label called, I think, like South Coast Music Group or something. And then that's the production deal. They probably give him some money. They help him out locally. And then when the big deal comes, that label signs a joint deal with that record label, whether it be Interscope, Atlantic, or whatever. But Roddy Ricch, he's on Atlantic. A lot of changes have happened at Atlantic. If you guys recall, Cardi B, just about a month ago, she was going at it with Atlantic, saying they weren't letting her drop, and then she talks about like, no, I apologize to my label. They actually really enjoyed my album and they gave me positive feedback. So if Cardi B, who is the premier money generator in rap, at least, like I think they've got Ed Sheeran on Atlantic, so Cardi B can sit that one out. And I think they've got that K-pop star, no, they've got Bruno Mars as well. So she's not the prime money generator, but for female rap, or just rap, let's not just say female rap, she is. Roddy Ricch, I think they're looking at him, and keep in mind, they cleared out that building. So Atlantic, Warner, 300, all of that stuff is just under Warner now, with new leadership from former 10K Projects CEO and founder Elliot Grange, who is Lucian Grange's son, who is the founder of Universal. So you've got Universal, Warner, and Sony, and Universal and Warner are both run by father-son. It's kind of cool, to be honest. I mean, you could say it's kind of crazy. I would agree with that as well. So they fired a ton of people, and maybe some of those people that were fired were a part of Roddy Ricch's team, and they were the ones that were speaking on his behalf. Because Logic, if you guys recall, years ago when he was complaining about people not getting paid for doing work on his album, I don't know if it was No Pressure. I think it was No Pressure. That was the last one before he went independent. He complained about Def Jam, and he said, like, it's not the people that he used to work with at Def Jam, but I think either those people left or they weren't the division that was handling the responsibilities for making sure that people got paid. So then it fell back on him. With Roddy Ricch, I think they're just not looking at Roddy Ricch as a priority. Like, for example, if Roddy Ricch was supposed to drop in July, Cardi B's supposed to drop. They're rolling out Cardi B's album right now. So they're like, hey, you can sit down, you can wait. Granted, Roddy Ricch has been trying to drop since the end of last year, and I think they just keep pushing it back, and they say like, hey man, you've got to get something popping, something moving, something shaking. People don't even know that you dropped. The only reason that they know anything is going on is because it's getting delayed. And I think Roddy Ricch is probably just thinking to himself like, yo, I don't want to do anything. Or like, I just want to put out my album. I just want to put out the music and see what it does. And there's what I believe to be this conflict there. Now, Roddy Ricch hasn't spoken on it. That could not be the issue at all, but like, for example, Young Thug is also another priority that comes before Roddy Ricch, partially because Young Thug has all this hype. There's Gunna is also on that same label. So they're going to roll out a Young Thug project, which was supposed to come out about a month or two ago, that has yet to come out, UI Scuddy. These people all get prioritized before Roddy Ricch. So I think Roddy Ricch is just in a predicament where I don't see why he just doesn't drop. He needs to get hot. He needs to do a feature run. Like, for example, like, who would have thought, if I told you that in 2025, JID was going to be way hotter than Roddy Ricch, you would be laughing. You'd probably be holding your side laughing if I told you that in 2020 or in 2021. You'd be like, all right, man, that's a good one. But here we are. And it's because Jid's somebody that keeps working. He keeps putting stuff out. Like, Roddy hasn't dropped anything in 3 years. Any project, mixtape, or album. And you just got to look at it like, damn, man. And it's not like you're doing crazy feature runs. You're not dropping that many singles. I think he just feels like, yo, I'm going to have another moment, which that's not going to happen. You're not just going to drop another hit, because the perception that people had of you when you first came into the game as a newcomer is not the perception that they have of you right now. And what you've got right now is you've got to grind it back up. And this is why I have a lot of respect for somebody like Meek Mill, because Meek Mill has no problem getting back, dropping tapes, dropping 3-packs, 4-packs, mixtapes, song here, song there, and really dropping some good music, some good bars, because he's going to get after it. He doesn't get comfortable. He doesn't wait for somebody else to do stuff for him. Keep in mind, Meek Mill is independent now, I'm almost certain. So there's that. But with Roddy, this is an unfortunate situation. And the last thing I remember about Roddy Ricch was him saying that he was getting $500K for a show, and everybody's like, you're getting $500K a show. Yet when people were clowning him about falling off, I don't know if that $500K, he's still getting booked for that. in the US at least. I don't even remember the last festival performance that Roddy Ricch did. But let me know what y'all think about this in the comments. Like and subscribe and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed, and I'm gonna see y'all on the next one.